I'm really excited to be chosen as an expert by Mint on Gandhi in Bombay. I'm Sifra Lentin, the Bombay History Fellow at Gateway House, Mumbai. We are a foreign policy think tank based in Mumbai. Bombay played an instrumental role in India's freedom struggle. Not a lot of people are aware that Mahatma Gandhi used Bombay between the years 1917 to 1934 literally almost as his headquarters for the freedom struggle. Today, as we celebrate the 150th year of Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary, I'd like to take you on a little journey to explore the three most important landmarks associated with Gandhi and India's freedom struggle. Did you know that Bombay was a staging post for some of the freedom struggle's most important movements? Gandhi launched the first All India Satyagraha movement from here in 1919. He launched the Khilafat movement from here in 1919 again, and then the non-cooperation movement from Bombay in 1920. Why did Gandhiji choose Bombay over Delhi when Delhi in fact was the capital of India from 1911? The reasons are varied. Broadly, Bombay's emergence as a hub of manufacturing, of trading, of business, of commerce, of banking attracted varied communities from the Maharashtrian and the Gujarat hinterland into the city. We had important communities like the Parsis, the Gujarati Lohanas, Bhatiyas, Banyas. We even had communities like the Khojas, the Boras, and the Memons, who were actually the business communities who were the engine of the city's economy and were great supporters of Bapuji. Bombay was a melting pot of peoples and cultures, and as a result of which it had a more sort of liberal and cosmopolitan outlook. It was because of this that the city was more accepting of the new ideas that Gandhiji brought with him from South Africa. Not a lot of people know that Gandhiji's most ardent supporters were the Desh Sevikas. They were women, groups of women who actually picketed liquor shops and shops that sold foreign cloth during the non-cooperation and the civil disobedience movement in the city. Gandhi also had a personal connection to Bombay. He had worked in the city in 1891, and then again in 1902 he had returned to the city from South Africa, partly to set up practice again in the Bombay High Court, and also to publicize the plight and oppression of the South African Indians. It was during this time in 1902 that he came into contact with stalwarts like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, who was a good friend of his, Sir Firoz Shah Mehta and Dinshaw Wacha. In 1915, Gandhi was given a rousing welcome by the people of Bombay when he arrived at the Apollo Bandar Pier, where the Gateway of India now stands. Gandhi had returned to India after a 20-year-long fight in South Africa for the oppression of the Indians there. His reputation had already preceded him, and people knew about his work in South Africa, so there were thousands and thousands of people milling at the Apollo Bandar Pier, and the air was rent with cries of Mahatma Gandhi ki Jai. In fact, not a lot of people are aware that the term Mahatma was used for the very first time in Bombay when Gandhi was being welcomed here. From the years 1917 to 1934, Mani Bhavan was the home and headquarters of Mahatma Gandhi during the freedom struggle. He was not always here, but every time he came to Bombay, he lived here during these years. And it was from Mani Bhavan that he actually launched some of the most important movements. In March 1919, he launched the first All India Satyagraha movement against the Rowlatt Act. Later, just a month later, on 13th of April 1919, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre occurred. So Gandhiji, reacting to the diffidence of the British to the massacre, stepped up the freedom movement by launching the first non-cooperation movement of 1920 from here. It was from this balcony that when the big freedom fighters like Jawaharlal Nehru and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Raja Gopalachari and Rajendra Prasad came to meet Gandhi here at Mani Bhavan, that they would often step out on this balcony to wave out to the crowds below. Many photographs have been taken of this balcony with all these freedom fighters standing here. This home belonged to Gandhiji's good friend Reva Shankar Zaveri. On July 31st, 1921, Gandhi called for the boycott of foreign cloth and for the burning of foreign cloth from here at Mani Bhavan. He struck at the roots of British imperialism because British-made milk cloth had destroyed Indian artisanal home industries and even enjoyed an unfair advantage over Indian mill-made cloth. Gandhiji issued the newsletter Satyagrahi from here at Mani Bhavan. This was an unregistered newsletter and was his first act of non-cooperation with the British government, because at that time all newsletters, newspapers and magazines had to be registered under the Press Act. Gandhiji also learned carding here at Mani Bhavan. He took lessons from a carder who used to shout out his services on Labanam Road. He learned how to clean the cotton and how to prepare it for spinning on the charka. The handmade charka itself took him a while to get used to, and he actually had to take lessons on how to use it. But all this happened here during his stay at Mani Bhavan. By 1917, Gandhiji was quite proficient at spinning thread from raw cotton fibers. As we all know, the charka became a powerful symbol of Gandhiji's ideology of Swadeshi, which means self-reliance. If Mani Bhavan had a strong association with Gandhi, it is the Gwalior Tank Maidan, where he launched the Quit India movement on August 8, 1942, that was associated with the final push of the Indian national freedom movement to push the British out of India. Now, there were many reasons for the launch of the Quit India movement. The Sir Stafford Cripps mission, which had come to India and which held a lot of promise for complete independence from British rule, eventually promised far less than was expected. Moreover, Indian nationalists and the Indian public were extremely upset with the fact that Indian soldiers were fighting on behalf of the British during the Second World War. But more importantly, and which actually escalated into the Quit India movement, was the reason for the escalation into the Quit India movement, was the fact that the Japanese army was at India's eastern border and about to invade the country from its eastern front through Assam. This was the reason why Gandhi made the call of do and die and quit India to the British, so that India would no longer be associated with the British Empire and the Japanese army would then withdraw from the eastern border. It was at this Maidan that the Congress Working Committee and the freedom fighters called for an important meeting to pass the Quit India resolution. Formerly known as the Gwalior Tank Maidan, this was actually a water tank which was filled up in the early half of the 20th century to form a Maidan here. Behind me actually is the Gokuldas Tejpal Auditorium, where the Indian National Congress itself was founded in 1885. On the morning of 8th August 1942, Gandhiji passed the resolution for Quit India, and the cries of do or die till India won freedom actually rent the air. Nothing happened on the 8th, but on the 9th morning, in a pre-dawn swoop, all the Indian national leaders were arrested, including Gandhiji was arrested and taken out of Bombay by trains. In spite of this, the schedule of the meeting that on 9th August the Indian tricolour would be raised here at August Kranti Maidan, which literally means August Revolution, was raised by Aruna Asif Ali, and there was tear gassing and a fierce fighting and a lathi charge here. The crowds were dispersed, but the Indian national tricolour was raised, and finally the moment had arrived where the British had to quit India. It is in this leafy Baikala lane just behind Baikala police station that the All India Khilafat Committee has its headquarters. The history of Khilafat House to India's freedom movement is often little known. No one is aware that Gandhiji had combined the angst and anger at the Jallianwala Bagh massacre along with the frustrations of the Indian Muslims at the defeat of the Ottoman Empire. In fact, Gandhi was elected the first president of the All India Khilafat Conference and led the first Eid-e-Milad procession from Khilafat House, which was formerly at Chotani House behind Crawford Market, to Hajj House. After Chotani House was pulled down, the Khilafat Committee headquarters shifted to Baikala to this property. There was a bungalow here which was later converted into a college. But even today, the Khilafat Committee has the procession as a symbol of Hindu-Muslim unity every year on Eid-e-Milad from Baikala, from the entrance of this college to Hajj House every year. This is the first time that Gandhi succeeded in combining the Hindus and Muslims on a common platform for the non-cooperation movement. So Khilafat House has a great significance for our Indian freedom movement, although he managed to woo the Indian Muslims in because of the danger that their holy sites, Mecca and Medina, faced with the dismembering of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Caliph, the fate of the Ottoman Caliph himself was at stake. But the Khilafat movement actually collapsed after Turkey became a secular nation in 1923. But it was for that brief movement from 1920 to 1923 that the Khilafat movement combined with the non-cooperation movement and was a symbol of Hindu-Muslim unity during the Indian freedom movement. Although we have covered the three most important places associated with Gandhi in Bombay, a lot of places in the city are associated with our freedom struggle and with Bapuji. We have Maidans like Azad Maidan, beaches like Chowpatty, theatres like Excelsior and Empire, halls like Jinnah Hall and Congress Hall, and even homes like Rumta House and Birla House on Mount Pleasant Road. All these places, big and small, hosted Gandhi and played their role in India winning freedom from the British.